Hey guys, did you know that in the early 1900s, plaque in the arteries of the heart was rare? The American Heart Association didn't exist, and the field of cardiology wasn't even a main branch of medicine. Then, after World War II, heart disease rates began to rise. Heart disease was pushed to the forefront of everyone's mind after President Eisenhower had a heart attack while in office. Determined to give America an answer to this growing issue, a scientist named Ansel Keys conducted his 6-country study. The study found an association between the amount of saturated fat and cholesterol in the diets of 6 different countries and the rates of heart disease in those countries. However, this was an associational study, and these types of studies can only show if 2 things are happening at the same time, not if one thing is definitely causing the other. These types of studies cannot help us develop concrete conclusions. They should really only be used to develop hypotheses to then test by designing and conducting clinical trials. Well, throughout the 60s and 70s, many clinical trials were done to test these claims. They show the opposite of what Dr. Keys said. They found that replacing saturated fat and cholesterol in the diet with unsaturated fat resulted in higher rates of heart disease and higher death rates in general. One of the studies found that there was a 22% higher risk of death for each 30 milligram per deciliter reduction in serum cholesterol. Now, despite these studies and the fact that Keys' original study was debunked in 1957, the idea that saturated fat and cholesterol cause heart disease got a big financial push from the processed food industry and the pharmaceutical industry. So these studies were swept under the rug, and the theory became conventional wisdom and was broadcasted throughout the media. Now, newer studies continue to show that eating saturated fat or having high cholesterol is not associated with higher rates of heart disease. They also show that higher cholesterol as we age is associated with lower rates of infection, cancer, cognitive decline, and lower rates of death from any cause. But the money behind the theory has kept it alive to this day. Now, these are all just associational studies, so we can't even say that the higher cholesterol levels were what caused the better health outcomes in these people. But the biggest problem with the cholesterol theory of heart disease is it has been a giant distraction from the actual causes of heart disease and heart attacks. After my heart attack, when I stopped worrying about the conflicting associational studies on cholesterol and started paying attention to the actual drivers of heart disease, I was able to reverse a 70 to 99% blockage of plaque in my leg, and I kept my heart arteries free of plaque despite having cholesterol levels that modern medicine considers very elevated for over 7 years. The doctors told me doing these things was impossible, but I was able to do them because I took a more comprehensive approach, an approach that is much more than just eating well and exercising, or just looking at cholesterol and inflammation on testing. Now, in my heart health mentorship program, I teach others what I did to get the result that I got, as well as everything I learned along the way about how to prevent disease. Stay healthy out there.